So hopefully today's video is out literally any day before Evo, because this is a question that I get asked quite a bit on the YouTube channel, and as well as sometimes on stream and on Twitter. I've even had a couple of questions on Facebook about it, and it's that people will come to me and ask, what stick do I recommend, or what stick should I buy when getting into playing on an arcade stick? And I thought this would be a good idea to just kind of make a video and do sort of like a buying guide video on arcade sticks. So we're going to get into that right after we talk about the merch store. I recently switched over to Teespring. Streamlabs did this thing where now everything's behind a paywall, and I really don't want to do that. So I went over to Streamlabs. They have basically all the same stuff. All the merch is pretty much the same. There's a lot more of it actually. So if you want to go and help support the channel, just a real quick plug here for the merch. Go ahead and buy a shirt or a mug or whatever. And yeah, if you do it while we're on stream, you're still going to be thanked all the same. So we appreciate it if you pick up something. And yeah, links down in the description. You can go and check all that stuff out. We got some pretty cool shirts. So when it comes to arcade sticks, I typically break them down into like 3 different categories. There's the entry level, the consumer level, and then what I call the enthusiast level. It's kind of like what I call, what you call PC building, like PC build specific price ranges. And I wanted to do kind of like, that's just how I'm going to categorize it for arcade sticks. And I wanted to just kind of break them down into each category and kind of tell you which ones to stay away from, which ones to kind of look into. And because this is Evo, I'm pretty sure that places and sites like Focus Attack, Arcade Shock, Paradise Arcade, they'll probably be doing some sort of promotion or some sort of sale during the Evo week. So there's that. I'm just trying to help people out who are looking for stuff. So we're going to go ahead and one thing actually I should mention first is that a lot of the sticks you're going to see have been heavily modded because I like to mod my arcade sticks. So what you are seeing most of the time is not going to be reflected in the actual product. So bear that in mind. I just have the sticks. Most of them are relatively just the buttons are changed out, but for the most part they are consistently the same. Again, you'll be able to see all the specs and all those arcade sticks when you go to look them up. So some of the things I'm just going to quickly get out of the way is that the standard or Sanwa is the Sanwa JLF and Sanwa OBSF 30mm buttons. There are a few exceptions, and I'll talk about that in a second. So a majority of arcade sticks use Sanwa parts. They're standard, and they're fantastic buttons if you're a beginner or if you are even pro. It's one of the main 2-3 button and lever makers in Japan. There's Hori, Seimitsu, and Sanwa. And Sanwa seems to be the most popular one. I think it's probably because they're probably the most responsive. They're the most, I don't know, they're pretty good buttons to play on. I've already said my rants before that I don't like pushing buttons, so I'll save that for a different video. They're fantastic buttons if you're not going to switch them out, but unfortunately, its competitor Hori and Seimitsu, I should say, they don't really see any use in a lot of arcade sticks. It seems to be mostly just Sanwa. So if you're looking to get Hori, you're gonna have to stick exclusively to Hori arcade sticks. And if you're gonna be getting Seimitsu, you're gonna have to kind of buy them yourself and mod them in. Same with any other button and lever. I mean, it's kind of sad. There used to be a few arcade sticks in the last generation that did have Seimitsus, but Sanwas are the ones that have taken over. When it comes to Seimitsus are probably a more heavy pushing Sanwa, I want to say. They feel like they need a little bit more of a press to get any sort of actuation out of them, so they have a little bit of weight behind them. Same thing with the lever. The lever takes a little bit more force to actuate. They're very sturdy and very durable. They both feel great. It's just a matter of, you know, apples and oranges. Which ones do you want? When it comes to Hori, Hori is kind of a different story. I didn't mean to make that rhyme. I'm sorry. So for Hori, the levers are a little bit different from Seimitsu and Sanwa's. Hori's I consider to be probably one of the worst levers out there, just because they're not my thing. I really don't like how unresponsive they are. They're very touchy. They'll put inputs in that you didn't put into it. In my first Evo, I bought a Rat 4 Kai and it had a Hayabusa lever in it. I love the buttons. The buttons are fantastic. I'll just get that out there right now. I love the Hayabusa buttons. They're like my third favorite right now. They used to be my favorite until I tried Crown and Gamer Fingers, but the lever itself gave me a lot of horrible missed inputs. It would give me random jumps when doing core circles. It would give me, when I was going from crouch, I would let go and it would give me jumps. And there's a lot of really wonky input issues with this because it's a very touchy stick. It's very sensitive. So be aware of that when I talk about how good these products are, because I will always recommend try the Hori lever out to see if it's your thing, and if it's not, that's the first thing to go. Get rid of that for a Sanwa if you really want a Japanese lever. That's just fair warning. So with that out of the way, let's talk about the entry level. The entry level arcade sticks I tend to consider in the $0 range. Yeah, free. No, the $20 range, like trash, like you would get from the USB rocker, the Honcam, shoot, what else? Just any low-level stick to $99 to $100, and you get a lot of brands. Honcam, you get the USB rocker and however many variations of it you'll find. That Chinese stick that I put together that was really crap. And then you'll get brands like Quanba, you'll have Hori, and you'll have Mayflash, and I think Venom is also Mayflash. But the five ones that you'll find mainly in this category that are worth anything are going to be the Fight Stick Mini, which is easily the worst out of the group. Avoid that because that's $50 down the drain. And you can easily get a Quanba drone for around that same price, if not about $20 more. It usually circulates between $60 and $80, and that's a fair price for that. It's a great stick. And then you have things like the Mayflash F300 and the F500. The F300 I did a review on a while back, and I thought it was a fantastic stick. It's easily moddable. It's got an okay case. It's a durable case. I don't know how it will fare in the long term, but it seems fairly all right. The only thing that's weird is that you have to plug in a controller for the console that you really want to use it on. The F500 is just the F300's bigger brother, I guess, and both of them have all the same features for the most part. You can swap the buttons out for Sanwas and the lever out for Sanwas or whatever parts you want, no problem. It actually has quick disconnects. Hallelujah. Same thing with the drone. The drone is probably a little bit cleaner and doesn't require any sort of controllers being plugged in to use it on a PS4. So, that's kind of a plus on the Quanba drone side, but the Mayflashes are fantastic as well. I gave that one F300 a good review, and I gave it away in a contest, and I swapped everything out with Sanwa metallic silver parts. And then you have the Venom arcade stick. I think Venom is also a Mayflash product, and that one, it's just like the other two. I haven't tried it, but I've seen people who use it. I believe I have tried it at an event or two, and seems fine to me. Honestly, if I was going to recommend an arcade stick out of this category, it would have to probably be the drone or the F500. I haven't tried the F500, but it's probably just going to function like an F300, just bigger. And yeah, it has probably more space and all that other stuff. Heard people say that they like it, and yeah. Get yourself a drone or an F500. I would probably say the drone, mainly because it just is a lot more durable. It's a very durable case. Quanba parts are a lot better than whatever parts are in the Mayflash, and they're easily moddable with Sanwas. It also has the easy access hole in the back to unscrewing the ball top, and that's one of my favorite features on an arcade stick. So for the next category, it is the commercial line or the consumer grade. And these ones typically range in about the $100 to the $199. $225 is kind of on the high end, but I kind of include it in this consumer level market. So now we're going to get into what I call the consumer level of arcade sticks. And that's pretty much anything that's a licensed product that's from about $100 to about $225. 200 is where I really cut it off, but 225 is kind of like on the really high side. And that's just to include some other sticks because they would easily not be worth it if I was going to include them into the enthusiast level. And these ones include brand names like Hori, Razer, Mad Catz, Quanba, and Itoki. Yeah, Itoki. And so basically what you're getting with this is that for the price increase, you're getting quality products. You're getting quality parts, I should say. You're getting your Sanwa JLF and your OBSF 30mm buttons. Also, wait, is the Hitbox? I'd probably consider the Hitbox and around that range. It's about $200, yeah. Hitbox is also another one. Hitbox is a different story altogether. I've done a review of that, but yeah, that one's also in there. When it comes to these for the consumer level, you tend to get a lot better build quality. You get bigger arcade sticks. This is what a arcade stick should feel like. Things like the Quanba Obsidian, the Crystal. The Crystal's kind of exception. It's on the lower end and it uses Quanba parts, but if you really want the LEDs, you can swap all that stuff out for Sanwa parts. I've done that in videos on that stick when it came out. You have the Hori Fighting Edge, which is a fantastic stick in this price range. The Hori Rap 4 and the Rap 5 Kai are fantastic as well. You have the Hori Rap N, the Mad Catz T.E.S, Razer Panthera, which is honestly one of the top contenders in this price range. And then you have things, you have like the Itoki Omni. And then you also have the Mad Catz TE2 Plus, if you can find them. Honestly, when it comes to arcade sticks in this range, there's really like, what do you want to do with it? Do you want something that you don't really want to mod and you want it to look cool with LEDs and stuff? Because in that case, you can go for the Crystal or you can go for the Obsidian. If you want something that you can mod and you don't really care too much about aesthetics, you can go for like the Rap 4, Rap 5 Kai, the Rap N, the Hori Rap N, the Razer Panthera, which is one that I would highly recommend if you're into opening up the stick and swapping out parts on the pretty much fairly easy. Everything else requires you opening up the back, and it's not so easy to get into the internals and do mods. So the Hitbox is also a viable option. The Hitbox is very different, and there's tons of videos explaining why, and there's even a review I did on it. There's probably something coming up in the future about Hitbox where I'll be talking about that as well. So honestly, what I would say is that if you're going to get something like this, go for like the Fighting Edge, the Hori Fighting Edge, the Quanba Obsidian, the Razer Panthera, or Itoki makes a really good durable stick. They do a Sanwa version as well as a Korean version, and I've done a review on the Omni, the Korean version, and if the Sanwa version is what you want, they do make those. And then there's also like the TES as well, and those are, yeah, the TES Plus or the TES, whatever it's called. Those are honestly the ones that I would recommend in this price range, since they're all pretty much a standard. They're all pretty much the standard of what I would consider good in this price range. Don't get the Tekken 7 Rap N because that doesn't have the non-slip padding. I don't know if the Rap N, the newer one, the Noir ones do, but if they don't, it's kind of not recommended. You always want something that's going to stick to your pants and not slide off, you know. So that's pretty much it. Oh, and I should actually mention, when it came to the entry level, stay away from the Mad Catz Fight Stick Alpha. Stay away from anything that's solder related. If you have to do any soldering work, if you want to switch buttons out, that's going to be a pain in the ass to do. So if you don't want to do any solder work, stay away from that stuff. Okay, so now we come to the third and pretty much final tier in arcade sticks, and that's what I call the enthusiast level. And that's basically just anything that's like 250 and above. And that includes things like boutique arcade sticks and things that are like super expensive and vintage. Like, yeah, anything that's super expensive like that. Just, this is a category that I reserve for people like me and those who collect arcade sticks and like to build and mod arcade sticks to holy hell. One such example is this thing back here that I've modded to crap, making this probably my most expensive purchase ever on an arcade stick. and that's the Victrix Pro Fs. That's a $350 arcade stick. And then you have things like the Dragon, which is like a $300 arcade stick. The Vulix, which is like $250. Yeah, and then you got things like custom builds. So like the Android 21 stick that I made. That one is like super expensive. It's got all Sanwa parts. It's got a Make Stick IST case, a golden, or not a golden lever. I wish I had a golden full color golden lever for that thing. It's got a Brook UFB and a retro board in it. That thing's like a $400 stick altogether. And that's pretty much where the boutique and enthusiast level comes in. It's really for the people who have already committed to buying arcade sticks. I actually would consider the Nacon Daija as well a enthusiast level, just because that stick is too damn expensive. That thing is like it's like $300 or something. I think it finally came out in the US and it's super expensive. I don't understand why. It's like not much better than a Razer Panthera. It's so strange. So when it comes to this level, like I said, if you're just starting out, steer clear from here unless you really got that money to spend and you really want to buy something super expensive. You might be able to make most of your money back on it if you don't like it and want to sell it, but just stick to the consumer and stick to the beginner level if you're brand new to this whole field of arcade sticks. Not worth sticking a whole bunch of money into something that you might not even like. Yeah, so you have a lot of these sticks really are just for show and flash. They have Sanwa buttons, they have Sanwa parts, and they're really good build quality. They're great sticks. You know, the Dragon is fantastic, the Victrix Pro Fs is fantastic. Vulix is a legendary arcade stick, but these ones are really reserved for the people who have the money, first off, and secondly, have already committed themselves to playing arcade sticks like I have. They're really cool looking arcade sticks. Don't get me wrong, this is an amazing looking arcade stick. So is the Dragon, the Vulix, all those. You also have other things that I really shouldn't be in that price range. I think like the Mixbox is it's in like the $250 range. That's what I would consider to be in the boutique and, you know, enthusiast range. And it really should be more like a $199 stick. Same thing, the Hitbox isn't really that much more expensive. It's, I think, like $220, something like that. So it's it's a fair price for that stick, or for that peripheral in the commercial price range. So this one, it goes out to the people who already own arcade sticks. You probably already know what you want. You probably already might have the money to buy an enthusiast. But if you don't, go buy commercial. So, all in all, I would recommend things like the drone and the Mayflash F500 in the entry level. If you're just a beginner starting out, both of those sticks will get you by just fine. If you want to upgrade those in the future, that's the fantastic part. They're upgrade friendly. When it comes to the consumer level, there's going to be things like the Quanba Obsidian, the Hori Fighting Edge, the Rap 5 Kai. I have a Rap 4, but I believe there's a Rap 5 now. The Hori N, the T.E.S, the Razer Panthera. The Panthera Evo, if you're really into that thing, it's separate. You know, I did a review on that as well. It's a separate thing from the Panthera. And yeah, those ones are all pretty good in there. I would recommend probably the Razer Panthera if you're into quickly opening and switching stuff out and you don't care about switching artwork out. And then the Obsidian and the Hori Fighting Edge. Those are probably my three favorite sticks in that category. Just purely based on stock parts like Sanwa's. For me, I like the Omni the most out of that category, and you can get that in Sanwa if you really want to. When it comes to the enthusiast level, really it's just the Dragon, the Vulix, and the Victrix. Those are the three that I'd recommend. The Daija I would recommend in the consumer level if it was consumer priced, but I don't think it is, so therefore steer clear away from that one. It's, in my opinion, too overpriced. Another really good and viable option that you can do is getting a vintage or an older generation arcade stick and then sticking like a Brook UFB in there. So you could get something like the Namco PS1 stick, a Quanba Fusion is also another really good one. You can get that and then have somebody, or if you know soldering work, you can solder it yourself, a Brook UFB in there, and you can have something like the Sapphire, the Ivory, or the Onyx, or the Crystal, and those things can work on newer generation consoles, no problem. But this is mainly for the ones that are just commercially like wide available now and aren't discontinued or old. So yeah, that's pretty much everything that I wanted to cover when it comes to arcade sticks. It's really just up to preference, what you think looks cool, what you're willing to spend, and if you are willing to accept the fact that it's going to take a little while for you to get good at an arcade stick. And arcade stick isn't a magic drop in your lap and you're doing a 5 electric combo with Heihachi or a 7 electric combo with Kazuya. It just doesn't work like that. You have to work and get used to playing on a arcade stick to get good at it. So with that being said, Evo weekend, check out all the sales if there's going to be any on these different sites. And yeah, that's pretty much all I got to say on that. Hopefully this video helps in some way and hopefully it clears up, because I've gotten a lot of questions on different social media platforms about different arcade sticks and what they should get. So hopefully it kind of helps you determine what you're going to get. So that's the end of the video. If you liked it, you can like it. If you disliked it, you can leave. Door's right there. Scroll up to the red X and just click it. You can also subscribe to the channel and you can hit the bell notification to get notified when I put up more videos like this. Evo is coming up and I am going to be having a lot of videos coming up during, before, and after Evo. So hitting the bell will notify you when that happens. There is a Teespring, like I said, I switched from Streamlabs to Teespring, and that'll be linked down in the description. You can go and pick up some merch if you really want to. We have a Twitch that you can go and watch us on or subscribe to. I'll probably be live streaming reactions or try to get that set up so I can stream it while I'm streaming or something like that. Hopefully it doesn't end up being trash. I don't know how it's going to work, but you know, yeah, I'll be doing a lot of coverage at Evo as well. Maybe some streams at Evo. We'll see how that works. I got a Twitter you can follow. It's at HurtboxTV. There's a Patreon where you can support us for as little as $1 a month. That's getting reworked at the moment, so if you have suggestions for what you want for Patreon tiers, then let me know and I'll do that and do whatever it takes that makes all of you guys happy. So with that being said, I'm Dan, this is HurtboxTV, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.